I'm Jennifer. I am the administrative manager for the National Family Support Network, and we're going to be your presenters today. So welcome. If you are joining us online, you may listen directly through your computer speakers. If you have joined via the phone number that Zoom provided, your line has been muted to minimize background noise. You may put any questions that you may have in the question section at any time. The chat section is open for you to include any comments during the webinar, but we ask that you direct all questions to the Q&A section of Zoom. Live tech support is in the room, so if you have any questions, technical issues, please reach out to them in the chat. Today's PowerPoint, the handouts, and a recording of this webinar will be available on our website by this time tomorrow. And when you exit the webinar, we do ask that you would complete the evaluation. It will automatically populate on your screen. We ask that you take a moment to complete this, as it helps us provide invaluable feedback to inform our future webinars. So now the fun part, we want to know where you're joining from. So if you would take a moment and complete this poll, so we'll know, are you coming from the West, Midwest? Are you down in South in the Texas like me? Where are you coming from? We'll give you a few seconds to answer this poll.
And it looks like all of the questions launched at the same time. So if everybody wants to take a moment to answer where you're joining from, what your affiliation is, and which level you're working at, we'll go ahead and have you answer those first 3 questions.
So are you affiliated with the Family Resource Center? Are you affiliated with a network? Are you another family support program? Are you a parent leader, early care and education, or just education? If you would answer those 2 questions for us, and then which level do you work at? Policy systems level, management level, program direct service level, or some other? And prior to today's webinar, had you heard of the principles of family support, or is this your very first time? We want to know. And also prior to today's webinar, have you heard of the Strengthening Family Protective Factors framework? Yes, you have, and you love them, or no, you can't wait to hear more about it. We'll give you a little bit longer so that you can answer those questions. Thank you so much. All right, hopefully you've had enough time to answer all of those questions. So the first one was, where are you joining us from? Will you advance that slide for me, Julie? Okay, look, Northeast. We have a good mixture of people, most coming from the West. Welcome, welcome. We love to have everybody here. So over the last decade, NFSN has quadrupled in size to now have 39 member networks. This is amazing. 38 states and DC that represent more than 3,000 family resource centers that serve more than 2 million people annually and are still growing. The newest members are Nebraska. They joined in April, and Wyoming, who joined in September. So if you're a part of those networks, welcome, welcome again. So our mission, what do we do here at NFSN? Our mission is to promote positive outcomes for all children families, and communities by leveraging the collective impact, right, of state family resource networks and really championing the quality of family support and strengthening practices and policies. Our vision is a nation in which every single family is thriving and every state has strong and effective network to really support the families in the resource centers and what they're doing. We especially want to connect with representatives from any state that is not currently green on that map. So if you look back at that map, we really want to connect. We still got a few states that we got to fill up. So if you know somebody, connect them, share the resources. Okay, our areas of work. So one, we focus on connecting and convening members networks to enhance their effectiveness. Working in silos is not as good as working as a team and being able to bounce ideas. So increasing connectedness amongst members for peer learning and mutual support. Number two, promoting family support best practice and evaluation. So how do you do that? You raise awareness of what is quality family support and promote a common language, standards, and evaluation of it through national implementation of the standards of quality for family strengthening and support. And number three area is raising the visibility of the value and impact of family strengthening and support networks. So in order to strengthen and increase the support for families. So yes, we have to continue to raise that visibility. So today you are here because we're giving an overview of the standards. And so I'm going to give you an agenda of what we're doing. We're going to go over the background of the standards, where they come from, what are the standards? We're going to do a standards overview, standards implementation, program level and a systems level. We're going to do a Q&A. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop those in that Q&A box. And then we'll go over we have our NFS and resources and opportunities. So we'll go over those. There will also be a Dropbox link put into the chat so that if you want to follow along with any of our handouts, you have those available. And then at the end, we'll do an evaluation. And again, that's just to provide great feedback so that we can, it will inform us for future webinars.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for giving us a brief overview before we get started. So one of the things that we do is we focus on our families. So our focus is on families who are responsible for raising children. So that might look different, but it needs to be at least one adult and one child who is related biologically, emotionally, or legally. So we know that families may consist of one parent, two parents, those grandparents, foster parents, legal guardians, or they may arise from a mutual need for a mutual support. So the standards timeline. The standards was started in 2012 through the California Network of Family Strengthening Networks that develops the standards of quality for family strengthening and support. In 2013, the National Family Support Network adopted the standards for national implementation. 7 years later, in 2020, when all things changed for us in the U.S. and the surrounding countries, we engaged member networks across the country, parent leaders, Canadian family support organizations, and the Center for the Study of Social Policy to review and revise the standards with a focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and relevance for both the U.S. and Canada. In 2021, a new version was approved for the NFSN membership. So the importance of the standards, as you can see, we want to make sure that we can help ensure that families are supported and strengthened through quality practice. We also wanted to create a common language and expectations across different kinds of family strengthening programs, such as family resource centers, home visiting programs, early care and education programs, and programs working with families in the schools. So the standards, this is something that we are not selling the standards. We want everyone to have access to and think about the quality of work that we provide for our families. Okay. So we've already talked about what your affiliation is, and we saw some of the reports there. So we know that you're affiliated from so many different places. And I think that's the strength of the standards, is that people from all different affiliations are able to share it to make it a part of the different processes that they go through and that they experience it. So this is the application of the standards. So we also did the poll question of which level do you work with? Are you a policy or system level? Are you management level or programs or direct service level? So this requires the commitment and support for all of the levels that you see listed on the screen. And I'm sure there are many other ones as well. So the foundational framework. The standards brings together two foundational frameworks in the family support and strengthening field. All right, Jennifer, it's your time. I'll turn it right back over to you.
Awesome. So like LaDonna mentioned, the principles of family support. So we're going to go over those principles in family support. So principle one, well, before we go into the principles, how many of you had heard of the 9 principles of family support before today? And so from the poll, it was a good mix. 57% said, yes, I've heard of it. And 43% said no. So it may be a review for some of you, and some of you are going to be, it's going to be new to you. So principle one, staff and families work together in relationships based on equality and respect. Could you imagine service like when you're giving service to your families and your family resource centers or where you work, and really emphasizing that relationship, right? That we're equal, that respect level, right? So while this principle may not seem so revolutionary for today, at the time it was written, it presented quite a challenge to the system. At the time, the prevailing wisdom was that staff were the experts. So we're putting off our expert hat and we're saying, hey, we're in here and we're going to work through this problem together, right? So principle two was staff enhance families' capacity to support the growth and development of all family members, adults, youth, and children. This principle, it emphasizes that we in the family support field, we look at the whole family, not one individual person. If only one member of the family participates in our activities, we want to be asking about, hey, where's everybody else? Can they join us, right? Really emphasizing the whole family. We have principle 3, families are resources to their own members, to other families, to programs, and to communities. Families come with a wealth of knowledge, and we want to acknowledge that. We want to support it, and we really want to empower families. So our next principle, principle 4, is programs affirm and strengthen families' cultural, racial, and linguistic identities and enhance their ability to function in a multicultural society. This principle, it commonly referred to as the diversity principle. It has 2 parts, right? So the first part is about respecting and welcoming the diversity that families bring, be that whether it's linguistic, whether it's cultural, whether it's in the family structures, whatever it may be. The second part is about preparing them and connecting them with a larger community, right? Where they will naturally interact with people from very different from themselves. This will support them to fully participate in our diverse society in which we live. And then principle number 5, programs are embedded in their communities and contribute to the community building process. So family support programs do not see themselves as simply just social service providers, but we are all community builders as well. So by strengthening families, they make a key contribution to the health of the community that they're in. Principle number 6 talks about programs advocate with families for services and systems that are fair, that are responsive, and accountable to the families that are served. So think about some of the major systems that families interact with: education, healthcare, legal system, just to name a few. Are all these systems fair? Are they all responsive? Are they all held accountable? Often not, right? So that's where our work comes in as family support providers, is to work with families to help improve these systems. Principle number 7 talks about practitioners working with families to mobilize formal and informal resources to support family development. So there's a strong emphasis in the family support field on resources. The most common type of family support program is called a family resource center, right? So there you see, right in the name, is an emphasis on resources. And so while no program could directly provide all the supports a family might need, it is our responsibility to know, how do we connect them to what they actually need? Principle number 8, programs are flexible and continually, emphasis on continually responsive to emerging family and community issues. The concepts of flexibility and responsiveness are very important in the family support field because neighborhood and communities change. A neighborhood that is majority Latino today might be majority Asian in 5 years. Issues emerge that significantly affect families, such as economic downturn. Programs need to be flexible and responsive to these changes. And then principle number 9, principles of family support are modeled in all program activities, including planning, administration, and governance, right? So it's important to include everybody at the table. What does that look like? It looks like it's the catch-all principle, because it says that all of the above principles should be applied in everything that you do. Planning, governance, administration. These principles have implications for how we develop programs, how they are led, and how we support our staff. Strengthening families approach. That is the approach we use. So it was developed by the Center for a Study of Social Policy in 2005. And we answered a poll. How many of you have heard of the protective factors before today? And let's see what it was. Prior to today, 71% said yes, they had heard of it, right? What are those protective factors? Again, they were developed in 2005 by the Center for the Study of Social Policy. It was research-based and evidence-informed when they developed these protective factors, and it helped to increase what? Family stability, enhance child development, and reduce child abuse and neglect. The 5 protective factors are parental resilience, social connections, I'm sure we could all name them off, concrete support in times of need, knowledge of parenting and child development, and social and emotional competence of children. Our standards are broken into 5 sections that each represent key elements of quality practice. Family-centeredness, so working with a family-centered approach that values families and recognizes them as an integral part of the program. Without families, are we really a family resource center, right? Family strengthening, supporting families to be strong, healthy, and safe. Thereby, it's promoting their success and their individual optimal development. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, valuing, respecting, and embracing families' diversity and advancing equity and inclusion. Community strengthening, working collaboratively with other stakeholders and supporting families' civic engagement, leadership development, and the ability to affect systems change. And evaluation, looking at areas of program strength, right? As well as areas for further development. This is how we continue to grow. In order to guide continuous quality improvement and achieve positive results for families, we have to do some evaluation, right? So the structure of standards, how are we actually structured? I'm going to hand that over to Ms. LaDonna.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. So the structure, how are the standards structured? We have 15 standards, and each standard includes 1 to 2 set of indicators of both foundational quality and high quality. So the foundational quality indicators demonstrate the basic application of the standard. Programs build upon the foundational quality indicators to achieve the high quality indicator, which represents that deeper integration of the standards. So we'll be looking more specifically at the indicators in a moment. So each indicator is, like I stated earlier, is followed by 2 to 4 examples from the field that illustrates its application. These examples are provided as illustrators and are not meant to be a checklist or limited to the ones that are cited. In the certification trainings on the standards, a significant focus is on participants thinking of their own examples that demonstrate the indicators that in ways that are relevant to their program. So we want to help make sure that they can make it specific so it can make sense to them. And as programs apply the standards, they're encouraged to identify their own examples that demonstrate the indicators in ways that are relevant to their communities. So let's think about those quality indicators. So we have the foundational indicators, and they create a solid foundation for family support and strengthening programs. Then we have the foundational quality indicators, and they're designed to be met within the basic resources of a typical family support and strengthening program. The high quality indicators are built upon the foundational quality being in place first. We don't just jump to high quality. We need the foundation under us first. So programs are encouraged to strive to meet high quality indicators in order to serve the families most effectively. So some high quality indicators may require capacity building or additional resources to meet these needs. So when we look at the quality continuum, we start with the foundational quality not yet addressed. So here's an example. We start with the foundational quality not yet addressed. Then we approach the foundational quality. Then we meet the foundational quality. This is where quality begins. Then we continue along the continuum to approach high quality and meet both foundational and high quality. You'll see at the bottom that the arrow keeps going after we've already met foundational and high quality. This is because we know that quality improvement is an ongoing continuous process. This is why high quality is not the maximum quality. So in implementing the standards, it's a developmental process. And it's common that programs may see aspects of their work at different points on the quality continuum. So as we go through the standards today, you may determine that you are already doing quality work in various areas and also identify areas to work on even further. So how do we move from foundational to high quality? So for the first 4 sections of the standards, this is the arrow we use to explain the movement from foundational to high quality. On the left, we see foundational quality, and on the right, high quality, which represents the deeper integration of the standards into the program. Now, what moves foundational to high quality are the elements in the arrow. So right here, you see formal structure, and that's going to be such as design, policies, procedures, and those intentional strategies with committed resources that ensure consistency of practice. Then you'll also see in the arrow box is staff training. That's going to be to support the implementation of the standards. And finally, you see family partnership. That's partnering with families in the implementation of the standard. So each of these elements helps ensure that the standards are more deeply integrated into program practice. For example, at foundational quality, we may do something that it's a good practice, but how do we ensure that it wasn't a one-time occurrence? At quality, at the higher quality level, we've set up systems, trainings, and are partnered with families to ensure that it will continue to happen. So the particular elements and number of elements needed for high quality differ for various indicator pairs. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 2, and sometimes it's all 3, but it's never anything other than these 3. Okay. So family-centeredness. Let's go ahead and look at standard FC.1. We see here that program engages families to participate in program development and implementation. That's the standard. So the foundational quality indicator states that programs solicits input from families to shape and plan the program and the services. And then let's go ahead and look at the high quality indicator. The high quality indicator states that programs design, keyword, support partnering with families. So programs design supports partnering with families to have an active role in the development and implementation of the program. Let's make sure that we pay attention to the formal structure and the family partnership. So the formal structure is that they are designing something. The family partnership is they're partnering with the families. So like I said, as you can see in the arrows, formal structure and family partnerships are in the elements, and that's what moves us from the foundational quality to the high quality. So let's look at the elevation of the arrow. Here you see the elevation arrow. As with the arrow we used in the first 4 sections of the standards, we see foundational quality on the left and high quality on the right. And it represents, again, that deeper integration, but the elements in the arrows are now different. The elements that we have here are data analysis, which is collecting data, and it's the foundational, but not analyzing the data. And then sharing evaluation results with various stakeholders, such as the families that we work with. Then you see program modification. And this means changing the program as a result of what we learned from the evaluation. We don't just do evaluation for evaluation's sake. We actually do something with it. So that's all of the elements of the arrow and what it would look like when you do sign up to take this next training. Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to Jennifer, and she's going to share a little bit with you about the implementation tools.
Yes, implementing. So the program self-assessment tool is designed for program teams of managers, direct service staff, and parent leaders to really reflect on the standards implementation and the quality improvement. The program self-assessment tool, like I said, it's designed for those teams. It is recommended that all team members are involved in using the self-assessment tool, that they have been trained on the standards first. You have to know what you're working with so that you can really evaluate what you're doing. The staff reflection tool consists of 15 self-reflection questions for staff members to use as an ongoing reminder of how to implement the standards. And staff are encouraged to put it in a place that they can see it regularly, such as over their desk. That's exactly where it sat in my office when I first came across it. It's right over my desk, so I can continuously be reminded and reflect on these tools. The standards participant survey shows how well the program is meeting the standards from the participants' point of view. It is not a typical satisfaction survey. The questions, they mirror those on the staff checklist. So if staff members are mindful of these questions, the program participants are likely to give the program high scores. All of these tools are available on our NFSN website and are included in the standards training. So training, one of my favorites, is certification training. So training is fundamental, just in general, for implementing the standards effectively. So certification training, how do you sign up? What is it? Certification training is in-person or virtual training designated for all management and direct service staff, as well as for funders. Participants will receive a certificate that is valid for 2 years. So we are so glad that you're here for this webinar, but just as a reminder, this is not the training. We still want you to sign up for the training. In order to receive a certificate, you want to participate in one of those certification trainings. Certification trainings are conducted by pairs of trained trainers from the member networks of the National Family Support Network. Networks, funders, and other stakeholders can also contract with the NFSN to host a certification training for programs in their area if they are not standards trainers in the state. Programs are highly encouraged to come as teams of both management and direct service staff to the training, because successful application of the standards requires the commitment and support of all levels of program responsibility. Individuals are certified, not organizations, which integrates the standards into every single person's daily work and provides a professional credential for staff. All trainings are live because the group work and the peer sharing are very valuable to the process of learning about the standards. The Training of Trainers Institute. It is a 4-day in-person or a 5-day virtual training for representatives of NFSN member networks to be able to conduct the certification training in their area. Only network representatives are trained to be trainers, which supports their capacity building and establishes a unique, essential, and ongoing role for them within the system of support for families in their area. So standard certification trainings are happening nationwide. Look at this map. You'll see all of our states that trainings are happening in lit up in blue. There's numerous number of trainings. If you look at that diagram, you'll see Kentucky 55, New York 28, NFSN 40, Texas 71. And this is from May 2012 to December 2023, right? The number of individuals that are certified, 16,243 individuals. So if you are one of those, give yourself a hand clap, and we want to get everybody on board. Current number of trainers, we currently have 128 certified trainers within our network. So what an amazing, amazing thing. Let's go ahead and go into our training impact. What is the training impact, right? Post-certification trainings surveys have shown 91% of respondents indicated that the standard enhanced their program's work with families. Kudos. At least 85% of respondents report using one or more of the standards implementation tools. What are some other impacts that we've heard? So I'll give you a minute to read through some of these quotes from across the country to kind of see what is the impact, not just hear from me and LaDonna who love the standards, but also so you can read it. So I'll give you a couple of minutes. So as you can see from just reading the training impact, people are using them, the reflection, using them at staff meetings to discuss what we can improve on. If you all are speaking from a common language, then evaluating what you're doing is easier, right? So that is part of what the training impact, and you'll see they're coming from all different states about, I use them to implement grant guidelines and action plans. It is a great tool for programs to use to enhance their services. So this training has an amazing impact on a lot of the work that we do in family support field. So how will that look in supporting network development? And LaDonna will tell us a little bit about that.
Thanks again, Jennifer. You're doing an awesome job. So supporting network development, as we can see, or we know, networks formed and expanded through standard certification training, and networks strengthened and capacity and sustainability through developing their trained trainers. And then all funds generated through standard certifications training are invested back into supporting the network. So for example, in Arizona, the standards provided a common language for diverse providers across the state, and then established a key role for the Maricopa Family Support Alliance in promoting quality practice within the system of care. As a result, the Alliance grew from 21 to 72 agencies in just a few years. In order to ensure the accessibility and affordability of the standard certification training, network with certified trainings or trainers may only charge participants within the range of $0 to $125. So the program implementation continuum. This illustrates the continuum of standards implementation at the program level. So let's go ahead and look deeper into this. We see that there's different steps. The first step is preparation or preparing, promoting, attending certification trainings, implementing the tools, then developing the program implementation plan. And then after that, you're ensuring the ongoing quality improvement. And then finally, you have that ongoing training. And to the side on the left, you see the different sample activities under each steps, the resources, and the cost. So this continuum is available for download in the handout section of the GoToWebinar console. Okay. So this also, as this is just another level of what you just seen. So the network implementation example. This is an implementation diagram for one particular network that demonstrates how they implement these standards as a network. So they use a three-pronged strategy that integrates them into training, evaluation, and membership. Each network is encouraged to develop their own network level implementation plan. So network implementation, here's an example. So this diagram illustrates how the Colorado network has tiered their trainings for Family Resource Center staff. All staff at the centers, regardless of their roles, complete the one-day standard certification training. Staff working with families, and that's for in-person, which makes it one day. If it's virtual, it would be 2 days. Staff working with the families and their supervisors complete the free 14-hour online Strengthening Families training offered by the Children's Trust Fund Alliance. Staff working directly with the families in case management roles complete the 60-hour family development credential. So as you can see, different networks choose to do things a different way, but it all falls in line with the standards and how they can support them. I'll now turn it back over to Jennifer, and she's going to share with you why it's very important to adopt the quality standards.
So if y'all aren't convinced yet, we're going to go over why would you even adopt these quality standards, right? So considerations. Do you want to deepen your practice? Do you want to establish a common language that everybody can understand and speak from? Develop partnership opportunities, the collaborations. If y'all remember those maps, we are lit up all over and continuing to grow. When you become a part of the standards family, you start to grow collaborations all over the United States and even further. Utilize shared measurement systems. How do we evaluate? That is what these tools help us do. Do something concrete to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion, and being a part of a national movement. I know when I first heard of the standards, my big thing was that I wanted a common language. I didn't even know what I came into the training and I absolutely fell in love. Not only did they give me a common language, but they also gave me a way to continuously evaluate. And the bar wasn't set as, okay, once we get here, we're done. We are continually moving and evolving to stay family-centered. That was one of my favorite principles that we looked at was, are we really family-centered? It's about family-centered for the staff. It's about for the families. So yes, why would you want to adopt those? Those are some of the amazing reasons why we say that you should adopt the standards. So next steps, if you loved everything that we've talked about so far, you can download the standards and review them. They're located on our website. Review possible next steps along the program or network standards and implementation continua. Participate in standard certification training. It's offered by your state network or by the NFSN. And for funders in states without networks currently offering the standard certification training, review the standards training page to learn about how you too can contract with the NFSN to bring the training to your state. So We've talked about it, we've overviewed it, and now we want to hear from you. So feel free at this moment to drop any of your questions into the Q&A so that we could definitely go over those. LaDonna, Julie, myself, we are all here to answer your questions.
And while everyone's answering their questions, maybe go ahead and share some upcoming excitement with them while they're thinking that over.
Yes. So how can you get involved? How can you connect? We have some amazing upcoming webinar Wednesdays, much like today. We have 3 for the month of July. So you're in the first one next week, July 24th. We're going to talk about from under the radar to all the rage, family resource centers and family resource center networks. And then July 31st, we're going to be talking with a program that really works with family resource centers working with African American families. So make sure, go to our website, sign up for those, look at the Eventbrite. You do not want to miss any of these upcoming trainings. You can register at www.nationalfamilysupportnetwork.org. Also coming up is we talked about the standards. Are you interested? Take this back to your team. Come as a collaboration, a whole team, because for this approach to work, we want people from all different levels of the system, right? So come in. We have August 22nd and 23rd. You can register if you would register by August 8th. These are virtual trainings. They're 2-day trainings, and you get that 2-year certification. And then we have September 26th and 27th. So it's not too late to register for our August or September training. Again, you can register on our website at www.nationalfamilysupportnetwork.org. And then we have our pack. Do you want to engage families? Do you want to connect with families? Do you want to empower families? And how do you do it and sustain this, right? So sign up July 26th and 27th. We also have August 19th and 20th. This is a unique, highly rated virtual training for program staff to maximize the great potential of parent advisory committees. What I love most about this training is not only are you going to be, this training is facilitated by NFSN staff, but we have experienced national parent leaders who help lead this training, who give you the tools to really figure out how to develop and sustain your parent advisory committees. So those are some of our upcoming ones. Oh, and it's this year in October, we're only a couple. Oh, see, I got excited. I was ready for our conference. But before I get to our conference, I will talk about our 2024 National Forum. It has been long awaited. So please, please make sure you sign up in Eventbrite. It is coming to you September 26th. Go ahead, pick up your iPhone, pick up your Android, pick up your Motorola, and put this date in your calendar. Save the date, September 26th, 2024. Make sure to sign up on our website so you can get those reminders. And what I was super excited about is in October, we are having an international virtual conference from October 22nd to the 24th. We are having Together for Families. So we have multiple partners. Again, it's international coming to bring this on. Discounting early bird registration ends July 31st. So do not miss out. Go tell your boss, go tell your coworker, go tell your friend. Sign up today. You can register at www.togetherforfamilies.org. And then I see we have a couple of question and answers. So before we go to that, let's go ahead and talk about some of these questions. So, Julie, I'm going to give this question to you. Did you say that there should be 2 people from the organization to do the training?
Yeah, good question. Good question. So if you are talking about the certification training, the standard certification training, we recommend that everyone in your organization be trained to implement the standards because, you know, if you just train the direct staff, they're not going to be able to do it because leadership wasn't part of it and vice versa. So we recommend that all team members, regardless of their role, are certified in the standards. So that's the the certification training. And then if you're talking about the Standards Training of Trainer Institute, if you're connected with one of the NFSN member networks, you'd be eligible to develop trainers. And for the Training of Trainer Institute and to offer the certification training, you do have to have 2 trainers. So depending what you were talking about, hopefully one of those answered your question.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Julie. Next question. Do we have a list of FRCs already involved, completed the training, and where can it be found? Julie, you want to take that one?
Yeah. Yeah, good question. It's great to want to connect with FRCs and other programs that have already been trained in the standards. So the NFSN does have record of all of those that have been certified in the standards. We keep that. So if you're connected with a network and are curious about that, we could share that with the network lead of each state. Otherwise, it's not something that's widely shared, but feel free to connect. If you connect with other centers in your state, feel free to ask them and ask if they have heard about the standards and recommend that they watch this recorded webinar online or take the training themselves. So, but let us know if we can help facilitate any conversations and connections at all.
Yes, awesome, awesome. So if you have any other questions, feel free to put them in the question and answer. But while that's happening, if you want to get in contact with LaDonna, who is our manager of standards training and implementation, here is her information. Here's her phone number, email, and then you can always find all of the information for any of our staff members at www.nationalfamilysupportnetwork.org. So I don't see any other questions. So lastly, I would say our next steps and evaluation survey. So next steps, please take a few moments to fill out the evaluation. It's automatically going to pop up on your screens at the conclusion of this training, which includes questions about identifying next steps and what would support you all. So please take the moment to fill that out. We have had an enjoyable time telling you about the standards and giving you an overview and how our tools are on the website. So please feel free to reach out, but please do take those steps and look at all of the trainings on our websites. Thank you so much for joining us on this amazing Wednesday. And guess what, guys? Next Wednesday, we're back. So please join us at our next webinar Wednesday. We can't wait to see you.